Welcome to another episode of the Meal Prep Monday podcast. I'm your host and founder of Prep Dish, Allison Schaaf. In today's episode, I am talking through my updated travel bucket list. Before we get into the episode, I have an email from Prep Dish customer Kathy. Kathy writes, "Oh my goodness, Prep Dish has changed my life. I am not a cook, but your system has given me the tools to pull off healthy dinners every night with minimal effort. Slowly, the time spent prepping is decreasing as I learn techniques. Lots of YouTube videos. So thank you, and my family thanks you too." Kathy, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so glad to hear that Prep Dish is helping you and your family to enjoy healthy dinners at night and without so much effort. If you have not tried our meal plans and would like to have healthy dinners with minimal effort, just like Kathy has been enjoying, you can go to prepdish.com/MPM. Again, prepdish.com/MPM, short for Meal Prep Monday, to try out 14 days for free. That's the best way to give the plans a try in your household and see how they work for you. Okay, so for today's episode, I want to look back and share just some updates on travel and some bucket list things that we are figuring out here in the Schaaf household. If you have been following along for a while, yes, this podcast is about meal prep and saving time, saving money, all of those things. But I'm very passionate about travel. My husband is. It's something that we do a lot with our family. So from time to time, I take a few tangents, and some of my travel things will include eating healthier, doing meals at Airbnbs, that sort of thing. But if I were a listener, I think I would be curious as to some other topics related to travel. So for the next few weeks, I'm going to do a little mini series on travel, and then we'll get back into meal prep and meal planning more specifically. So travel bucket list. I like to have a plan. I did create a whole meal prep, meal planning website. So I am into planning. And when I travel, for the most part, I've always said I like to jump at opportunities that arise, right? Like there's a trip, I'm a part of a group and they're taking a trip to Australia, or, a friend is in a certain country and you can go and have a local guide because, maybe that's where their family's from. So I like to stay open to opportunities that come up with travel, because I feel like a lot of times, as much as I can plan, I want to go here, here, and here, there's also a lot of times when opportunities come up for a trip that either will, save money or be a better trip because of, a person that's there or something like that. But I also do find it fun to have certain, travel goals that I'm working towards. For example, I worked to visit 40 countries before I turned 40. Because of COVID, it got thrown off a little bit, but I have now been to 40 and I'm back on track kind of now to do on average one new country a year. That's a goal I'm also trying to stick with for my kids. It gets a little tricky. 2 of our 3 kids are adopted. And when you adopt, it takes quite a while to get a birth certificate and then a passport. So international travel always gets put on hold for about a year, sometimes a little more on the years that we adopt. But I have no doubt that over time we'll, fit in some more international trips as the kids get older. But in the meantime, we, when it comes to travel, one of the things we really enjoy is, getting outside in nature, going on hikes. And we started visiting some of the national parks, and it came up on my radar that there's quite a few people that have a bucket list or goal of visiting all of the national parks with their kids. So I started looking into it, and there are 63 national parks. Now, those are parks in the US that actually have the national park designation in their names. There's 429 national park sites in the US. So I'm not talking about those. So you kind of have to specifically look at the national park list. Also, a lot of those parks happen to be in California. My husband's from California, so we visit California about once a year anyway. So it's kind of easier to add on California to, or, those parks, just since we're already in that area, to just kind of add, this year we added on 2 national parks during that trip. Also, I think it's kind of fun. There is one in American Samoa, which is a bit of a hike to get to, but I think that would be a fun sort of finale trip to do if we do make it through the other 62. And, it's all locations that I would want to visit. Like so far, the ones we've been to, we've really enjoyed. They're a lot of fun. I think also they're trips that you can do no matter the age, right? Like from baby on up to, hopefully teenager. I know I'm not a mom of teenagers yet, but I think that the national park trips are things that are fun for all ages and just something that as a family we really want to get into. So I've started a Trello board, I've started a list and trying to figure out, how many on average to hit up each year. So this year we went so in St. Louis, the Arch is actually a national park. And we did a road trip, kind of up through Kansas, Missouri, Tennessee, down through Arkansas and back to Texas. And we fit in the St. Louis Arch. And then there's some spa baths in Arkansas that are also a national park. And those two are good to kind of get checked off the list because they're not really near anything else. Some of them, it's like you can go to one and then go to a few, and others it's like, a little trickier. So it was nice that that road trip allowed to get those two off the list. And those are a little more out of the way from some other locations. And then when we were in California, we went to Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon. So those two are literally like 30 miles apart from each other. And we were already doing a road trip and those were sort of on the way. So we got those done as well. And, we'll just kind of continue to see. There's some in Texas that we haven't been to. So there's kind of a lot of options, especially early on, and ways to fit those in. So that is our first little bucket list thing that we're wanting to do. My husband has been exploring potentially doing the Appalachian Trail, not anytime soon, but like trying to decide if that is going to be one of his, goals in his lifetime is to do the Appalachian Trail, and thinking he would maybe not do it straight through, but you can kind of go in and out and do it over time. I've also looked into potentially there's a trail called the Camino de Santiago. It's one of the more infamous trails in Europe. It's in Spain. And the same thing with that one. I would probably not do it all in one go. I would probably do it over the course of a few years, kind of starting and stopping. And I think either of those could potentially be done as a family, depending on, what years we chose to do that. And then, the countries list. So I don't know. But right now, the national parks one feels like a lot of fun. There are passports that you can get where you get a stamp at each. You get like a cancellation mark, which is like a rubber stamp, and then like an actual stamp that's more like a sticker that you can put in your passport books. So we've been doing those for the boys. Of course, we already missed like at least one, maybe two in the 6 that we've been to because you have to remember to get them there at the location. And if you don't, like we went to Sequoia National Park and then we made it to Kings Canyon and we forgot to get the stamp at Sequoia. And of course, Kings Canyon doesn't have it. And it was like, well, it's going to be 2 hours to backtrack. So we're already missing a few stamps out of the book, but it is still kind of fun to do, even if we don't cover all of them. So anyway, that is an update on our travel bucket list and what we are looking at, hopefully over the next several years. If you are on our Facebook group, I know this is off topic, but I always enjoy seeing your posts on there. So if you have any comments or feedback, if you have any family travel bucket lists that you want to share, let me know. I'm also on Instagram at PrepDish if you want to reach me there. And that's all I have for today. A reminder that if you do want to try the Prep Dish meal plans, we do have that 2-week free trial set up at prepdish.com/MPM. Those plans are the way that I get dinner on the table each night. It's the meals that I, feed my family, that my kids eat, that I eat. And if you want to try them out, that's the best way to see if it's a fit for you and your family. Okay, that's all I have for this week. I will be back again next week with another episode.